St. Louis Rams fans, thanks for tuning in to another high-impact podcast. It's showtime. Going to be another killer podcast. It continues today with more hard-hitting federal court evidence regarding why and how the dead federal judge was assigned to my complaint in 2014. Federal Judge Douglas Harpool, the law clerk, Attorney Heidi Doerhoff Vollet, the court clerks, and others, as I and my partner want our money and seek justice for every St. Louis consumer screwed over. St. Louis, after I won my first federal Fair Debt Collection Practices Act complaint in 2013, then I filed the Fair Credit Reporting Act case in April 2014. Due to extreme serious health complications, I was losing my eyesight, among other health issues. I had other people type up the complaint, but I had to take over as the people that I hired doing the typing could not draft a complaint. So I took over. The first two filings were not so great. So I filed the second amended complaint. Attached to the second amended complaint was all of my 4 years of the credit files and Exhibit 1, the smoking gun, all consisting of over 250 pages filed and attached under Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 10C. The Missouri Secretary of State Open Records answer regarding the three names, Central Trust Bank, Central Bank, and Boone County National Bank, was what was discussed in Exhibit number 1, which was the first exhibit attached. That became the smoking gun that scared the bejeebers all out of Central Bank. They didn't know I had it, as I never knew about the other name, the Central Trust Bank. When I touched upon it in my previous podcast discussing how attorney Casey Clark and the Missouri Secretary of State answered in the September 2013 Missouri Open Records, where I demanded to know by these exact spelled names if Central Trust Bank, Central Bank, and Boone County National Bank were Missouri incorporated banks by the Missouri Division of Finance. Casey Clark screwed up and said way too much and exposed the entire scheme right there in 2013 for $5. The purpose of why I demanded those answers is I audited my 3 credit files for 4 years and my credit reports. And the 3 credit files that I audited were from TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. All 3 of them showed Central Trust Bank and Central Bank claiming that I owed the exact same debt to 2 different banks all at the same time, which is impossible. When in 2007, when I applied and opened up the credit card account, was with Boone County National Bank in Booneville, Missouri, as I was told by the bank tellers that Boone County National Bank was the creditor that issued the credit card. And because my credit card was stolen, I was out of the country and paid no attention to where I signed my name on the credit card application, I always believed that Boone County National Bank would be the creditor. As in 2008, at that time, no one locally ever heard of Central Trust Bank nor Central Bank. So I attached all 4 years of my credit files and that Exhibit number 1 to my Fair Credit Reporting Act complaint in 2014. Bearing in mind that Exhibit 1 showed Central Trust Bank had no records filed with the Missouri Secretary of State. But Central Trust Bank, I later found out, was an imitation derived from the second imitation, the Central Trust Bank, as it appeared as an entity with the Missouri Secretary of State with a charter number, which I learned that neither were incorporated trust companies with the Missouri Division of Finance, were all fake names on credit card applications and loan papers, as proved by Mick Campbell, custodian of records for the Missouri Division of Finance in 2023, as you've read that on my website, ramsreturntostlouis.com. The law clerk issued an order that I sufficiently stated a claim against all defendants, and the motion to court to summary judgment to get paid, as the evidence proved I had massive FRCA claims in the amount in the billions, as it included claims against all 500 secured parties for daily violations. At that time, I had no clue that a dead judge was assigned to my complaint. I found that out in 2023 by looking up to see when Richard E. Dorr actually died, which was 10 months prior to filing. And after reviewing the corporate disclosure statement that showed both Central Trust Bank and the Central Trust Bank were not incorporated entities. After the initial order was issued under Terry DeOwens versus Central Bank, charter number capital K 00002095 ETAL. And after the bogus transfer order was issued, then Judge Douglas Harpool took over, knowing full well what was going on, redone the orders, and swapped Central Bank for Central Trust Bank to make Central Trust Bank appear as a legitimate entity, which he knew otherwise. It was right on the caption page. Then I filed a simple motion for leave to amend the complaint to add Boone County National Bank as additional defendants, where I demanded to know under what authority was the court operating under when it had Central Trust Bank on the caption page, the motions, and all the orders, when the Missouri Secretary of State stated clearly in its open record statement that Central Trust Bank was a fictitious entity and never registered. That changed everything. The lawyer, Heidi Doerhoff Vollet, of Cook, Vetter, Doerhoff, and Landwehr, PC, of Jefferson City, Missouri, would have to show proof that Central Trust Bank was an incorporated bank with the Missouri Division of Finance, and where Judge Harpool, known as Judge Harpoon, would have to answer as under what authority is this federal court proceeding under with a known false name, a false corporate bank front shown on a fake corporate disclosure statement with a made-up prepaid judgment under Judge Harpool's direction, also made up by the federal court clerks and wired to Central Bank, then wired to Equifax under false pretenses, where Equifax showed up in that credit file as a valid judgment, where the entire court jumped the gun, thinking that I would not be smart enough to write out a complaint sufficient enough to beat Rule 12b-6, which I did just that, and I kicked their butts. Both are caught in the conspiracy and deep doo-doo. Judge Harpool issued several fake court orders, each unlabeled, in a very quick hurry to conceal the scam. In early 2015, Bribe Judge Harpool set the concealment scheme up by holding the fake oral argument in federal court, where Judge Harpool asked the leading question to Attorney Heidi Doerhoff Vollet, where on the record she stated, Judge Harpoon, both names, Central Trust Bank and the Central Trust Bank, are one and the same, and it's on the court's record. Where Judge Harpool could have stopped the Rand's move dead in its tracks right there in early 2014. And I guarantee you can't forget this lawyer. Heidi Doerhoff Vollet is maybe 5 foot and 1 inch tall and was a nervous wreck, with another stooge lawyer that was with her to hold her hand in case she wet her pants. And butt ugly, as the most identifying feature of all is that no one will ever forget, is that she is completely flat-chested, not even 2 mosquito bites. Earned that name of Vomit. So Little Miss Vomit was allowed to bribe the judge. Concealed stands crimes right there in 2014 through 2015. Then 1 month later, Little Miss Flat-Chested drafted the bogus order, forged Judge Harpool's name on the fake order, was wired from Cook, Vetter, Doerhoff, and Landwehr's office in Jeff City, Missouri under false pretenses to the clerk's office in Springfield, Missouri, and the clerk's office under false pretenses mailed the two forged documents, the forged court order and the forged judgment, neither a final order and the judgment through the mail to my home address under false pretenses. This was accomplished the entire time with a dead judge assigned to my complaint, the first in American history, making the Eighth Circus the most single corrupt court in all of American history. There you have it, Rams fans. The start of it all was a simple $5 Missouri Open Record statement that proved it all in 2013, where Federal Judge Douglas Harpool could have saved countless St. Louis jobs. And tune in to my next podcast where I'll be taking more calls about little old Miss Flat-Chest and her daddy and that crooked law firm and her brother, Stephen Doerhoff, who was the former Assistant Missouri Attorney General, and what they've been doing with the 600,000 forged deeds of trust filed all over the state of Missouri and bribed county governments under the same two fake names shown on the fake credit and loan apps. High Impact will be live streaming and taking your angry calls and having a lot of fun blowing off some steam, taking Stan's calls while his indictment is awaiting and little old Flat-Chest vomit. Check out the website and additional information and daily updates. Listen to the continued pre-recorded calls with the local bribed officials and listen to them each sweat. State, county, and federal officers continue with their sweating over the phone. Click the subscribe and like button. Please comment and support High Impact Podcast. When it is kick butt for you, St. Louis, purchase the merchandise. St. Louis, it's been another Academy Award-winning and exciting podcast. St. Louis Rams fans, if you thought this clip was exciting information and want to watch another to find out more about Stan, Central Bank, and little old Miss Flat-Chest, which I know you will, as the worldwide numbers are continuing and racking up, please click here to watch another.